Okay, so guys, welcome everybody to our conversation with Steve Stern in South Florida. Steve, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good for an old man.
Okay, good, good. Steve, I got your last picture with the President Trump, but before talking Trump, let's talk about yourself. Maybe it's very important for today, talking about
Well,
you, because
well,
you are the great volunteer for the Republican Party in the South Florida. And could you please tell to my friends a little bit more about yourself?
all right. So what I do is I'm involved with a guy named Dan Schultz, who wrote the book on precinctstrategy.com. So we work together. We've been on Steve Bannon, um, John Fredericks, One American News, and a bunch of radio shows. And what we're trying to do is get people together and uh, have them join executive committees. So we got 95,000 people involved. So the whole idea,
Wow.
if you're not familiar with what executive committees are, each county in the United States has an executive committee, both Democrat and Republican. Just to give an example, where we are in Broward, we have 400 people involved, and this month we're going to vote in another 50 to 100. So all around the state of Florida, we have areas such as um, Palm Beach. They have 400 members. Miami has 150 members. Daytona's got 400 members. Manatee, 140. So all over the state of Florida, we got members. So what's good about this? These members have gone out, walked, got a lot of people signed up for the Republican Party and turned Florida red for the first time in the history of the state of Florida. So that tells you something that, go ahead.
Steve, there's a lot of people thinking was the Florida is a really Republican state. Is this true?
Well, yeah, now it's for sure because what's happened is all the Hispanics started changing their registration when they started to see that the socialism was coming in by Biden. So many of these people turned Republican who were Democrats, and more Republicans are being signed up.
But
Now, we have people coming in from New York, New Jersey, everywhere. They're sick and tired of what happened up there, the taxes and everything else, and they're changing their party affiliation to Republican.
Steve, let me ask you. You just say was a lot of people coming from New York and other states, but the numbers which is coming to Florida and the numbers which is already registered, is the similar, looks the same, or is the big difference? I mean, there's some people going to the Florida like to the second home, and somebody keep the property in New York and Jersey and whatever. So, and maybe not registered in Florida for election. What do you think? What do you
Well,
can say about
they have to, when they come down here, if they're going to spend time down here and move, they should register in Florida, because if you're in New Jersey and New York, you're not going to win any elections. You know what I'm saying? So we
it?
got
Yeah.
to,
Uh, yes, and by the law, when you move into the another state, you have 30 days to exchange your driver license, correct? And if
correct.
you exchange the driver license, probably you have to exchange your voting registration to the
Sure.
new address.
Well, if you live in New York, why would you want to pay 10% tax when you could live down here and pay zero tax, right? So I think that's why a lot of
Yes,
people,
correct. Yes.
but even beyond that, we have a lot of people that we went from minus 40,000 Democrats to plus 40,000 Republicans in the state of Florida. Now this happened in Pennsylvania too. I think we got more people in Pennsylvania Republicans. It's happened all over the country. I just was on the phone with Nevada. They're getting more and more people involved, you know what I mean, with a state like Nevada because of all the stolen elections and stuff like that. So I think people are waking up.
Yes, but yeah, but if we're talking about the Pennsylvania, it's very interesting because in the Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia is maybe Democratic, but I'm working in North Pennsylvania in the Poconos area, and when I'm driving there, I see only signs for Trump, no one for Biden. I mean, I'm talking about the election time. But unfortunately, we lost Pennsylvania in the last election.
Because
Uh,
of the stolen election. I mean, we know it was stolen. We just
uh,
have to prove it.
uh, um,
You're breaking up a little bit.
including Pennsylvania. Yes, yes. And what I think about the next year, how the Florida will be working next year. Well, I'm talking 2022.
Florida is going to do sensational because we're going to be redistricted, number one. Number two, if you have, let's say in Broward County, if you had 200 people there, now you got 400 people or 500, you got more people working on the ground. And what they're doing right now, there's an election for a guy named Jason Mariner, who's running in L.C. Hastings' old seat. So if he win that election, we'll know that we're doing something right because, you know, that was always a Democratic area. So we have probably 100 people on the ground knocking on doors where they got zero. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to know more of what's happening. So also, we're working on Carla Spalding, who's running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So if we can beat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we can beat anybody. And that's going to be the test. So the test is get more people out there, talk to the people. I just had a lady call me who's have registered many Black people. She says, Steve, you got to get the Black people involved. They want to get involved, but they're scared. You know what I mean? They're scared to come out because, you know, they're Democrats, but they want to change. How do they do it? So we have to work with them also. We have to work with the Haitians, the Jamaicans, all the Latins, all the people that nobody ever reached out to. So when I was up with President Trump last week, one of the things he said, we have a girl that's Jexit, Jexit, you may know him, Michelle Terrace. And they asked her, he asked, why aren't we getting the Jewish vote? And she said, well, look, between 2016 and 2020, we went from 22% to 43% Jewish vote. So that means that some of them are changing. You know what I'm saying? So Trump, one thing he said to us was, how are we going to get more Jewish vote? So we're going to work on that for him. And then he said, how are we going to get more minority vote? I said, well, the Hispanics are switching over to you. The men are, the women aren't as much. So we got to get the women to switch over. That's going to be a big thing. So, you know, it takes people. I mean, you know, I'm a one-man show. You're a one-man show. You know, we need multiple people. Now, just to give an example, today I got a list of probably 50 people that called the Broward Republican Executive Committee that wanted to volunteer time. We never had this before. So, you know, people are coming out. They really see what's, you know, we see what's happened to the country because many of these people came from foreign lands before. They came over here legally. They see what's going on. They're pissed off, you know, and they're really coming out to work. And as we get the word out more, there's many people that want to do it. They just don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to do. So how are we going to do it? That's up to the people. You know, in other words, if people sit home and watch TV and listen to the same bullshit on and on, they're not going anywhere. It's just like we told Trump, if you got 50,000 people at a rally and none of them work, what good is having a rally? You know what I'm saying? Get on the stick, tell these people to volunteer. Now we got 50,000 people that could volunteer. You understand what I mean? So if he's going from city to city and he actually says that, look what's going to happen. The whole country is going to come up because, you know, Biden, but who the hell could vote for Biden? The guy is completely, you know, we see what he is. Any sane person that voted for him now looks at him and says, holy cow, why did I vote for him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Steve, let me ask you. Right now, I'm proud was the first representative of the Russian community in charge in the Republican Party. I'm talking about Malka Shahar. You know Malka, and she connected you and me. And you know, Malka is the vice president of the Republican club in Miami. And so she's trying to organize the Russian community in Miami to going to the election, to be registered, to working like a volunteers, and so on and so on. Of course, she will need the help, but it's a big potential because when you're talking about the minorities, the Russian community, maybe minorities, maybe already not, because in our calculation, we're thinking maybe more than 1 million people Russian-speaking living in the Miami, big Miami. I mean, in the different areas, of course, but not all of them registered. Not all of them right now maybe have a citizenship, but one by one they become a citizen, and they have to be registered. And it's, the education about the political education is very important, and she need maybe help because she is just the one lady who is the Russian speaking in the Republican, and maybe she need help to organize this huge job, and this will be very helpful. Excuse me, let me finish. It will be very helpful because the mostly Russian community, they're Republican. Mostly, I know about that. We're looking the Russian community because I'm in social media, the Facebook and others, and we talking with different people, and mostly people registered like a Republican, or even they maybe registered like a Democratic, but in the general election they're voting like a Republican because when it was the last election, when we're talking in social media, 90% of the Russian community people voted for the Trump, supported for the Trump, and talking about the election in the Trump side, from the Trump side. And yes, of course, and a lot of Jewish people moved to Florida from New York and living right now in Florida, and it's good. It's good. And in the back of you, I see a lot of stuff in your store. The people can buy a lot of symbolic, patriotic stuff, and okay, the flagshirt.com.
Right.
Okay, very good.
So
Yes,
we've been
yes.
in business 67 years, and I started in Miami when I was 12 years old, and I'm 80. So just to let you know, Malka is having a meet and greet for Carla Spalding in her building, and she's inviting all the Russian Jews and everybody she can to the meeting. So we're going to talk to these people and try to help to organize them. That's the only way. But we need names, phone numbers, emails, you know what I mean? And I'm glad to call everybody. During the Trump campaign, I made 25,000 phone calls. So phone calling is the most important thing. I don't have the connection other than Malka and you and a few other people to the Russian. I didn't even realize it was that big. You know what I'm saying? They keep to themselves pretty much. And there were a couple of them that I contacted during the last election, but they didn't communicate back with me. They sort of stick with their own people. Am I correct? So during the last election, it was hard to get a hold of the people. They kind of like stick together. So now maybe, we can open up the stream to get everybody together, because like I said, the last election we call and they said we'll get back to you, but they never got back to you. Maybe they were scared. I don't know. But I know up and down Miami Beach, there's buildings that are filled with Russian Jews. So that's who we need to get a hold of. So if anybody can get me those names and numbers, I'm glad to call them and give them the information, how we can all get together and formulate. We need a database, because without a database, what good is it? You know what I'm saying? Because, people, you call them one time, they're going to do something, and then they never do it. So that.
Yeah, okay, very good. Steve, let's going forward, let's try to organize the Russian community of Miami, and looking positive to the next election 2022, and after that 2024. You've met with the President Trump a few days ago, and I got a nice picture, you and Trump together. So what do I think? Is the Trump will going 2024, or he will just support somebody? What is your feeling? I know it's just the feeling.
Well, it's not the feeling. I spoke to their senior people. He said he's definitely running, but he's not coming out until after 2022. He can't do that. He's got to wait till the 2022 election, then he'll come out and say he'll run. But right now he's setting up a lot of people, and people are donating a lot of money, so he's getting the war chest. So I think he'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? And the question is, he's got to get people with him that he could trust, because on the last election, you know how many people that screwed him, and that's the big problem. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see, but we'll try to change the history.
There you go. All right, very good. Whatever
All right.
together, I'm glad to work, and that's all we can do, you know what I'm saying? So we do things here. We had a boat parade where we had 50, 60 boats came out on the intercoastal, and, they tried to,
Could you show it a little bit up, please? A little bit up. Okay. Yes, right now I got it. All right. Thank you.
so that's just some of the stuff. So listen, we'll get together again, give everybody my love, and let's hope we can start moving.
Start moving. Okay, Steve, it was nice talk to you. And
what we say on Steve Bannon, action, action, action. All right?
Action.
All
right.
We'll sign off.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure speaking to you, and you have a good weekend and good Shabbos.
You too. And God bless America.
All right. Thank God bless America. Right. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.